I'm just going to show you the ad level of an ad I'm about to set up for a Facebook campaign. So this is the shell of the ad level here, and this is where you create your post copy, you add in your images, your links to any website URLs, you've got your display link, and I'll explain all these in a second. You can see I've got my Facebook pixel attached, so we're going to be able to get some insights if I'm creating custom audiences and things from these ads, or for the audiences for these ads. So you can either use an existing post, so if you've got an ad that's performing well, you can grab the post ID, and that's where you can chuck it in here. And then when you hit submit, it will pull it in as an existing ad, and that will carry across the social proof here. And I run through that in a separate video, so just hit the top right little eye icon, and I'll link you to that video if you want to if you want to be shown how to use an existing post. But in this one, we're going to create an ad, and we're going to just do a regular ad with an image. So the first thing you do is make sure you've selected that. You've got another option for a carousel, which is number 2 there, where you can have multiple images and different click-throughs for each image. You've got a collection, which is a new format. You can do things like shopping campaigns and display products. If you're doing an e-com type campaign, this would be a great way to go, and you can do it based on conversions. But in this instance, we're just going to create a regular website click or conversion campaign, and I'll just create one that I've run previously so I can show you the different specs of an ad. So this is where you can select your image. Now you can pull a stock image, so you can use Facebook's library of images. You can upload one from your computer, you can pull one from your Instagram account or your Facebook page, and in account images here, it's going to show images that you've previously used. So in this instance, I'm just going to find one that makes sense to what I'm going to show you, which would be this one here. So once you've selected that, you can see the preview on the right-hand side here. Now all we have at the moment is the image. It's going to say that my page, Simply Converting, has shared a link for a website URL. I'm just going to put my website there. And good thing to do is to test it. So hit preview URL. Now my website's in maintenance mode. It might take me to the back end, so I have access here. But we can see that the link works. So that's just testing that the link actually works. And I would always do that when using a destination URL. So text here is the text that's going to appear above the image. So you'll be able to see that in a second. I've got some here I'll just paste in as an example. So this is some example post copy. If I chuck that in, it's going to refresh the preview and you're going to be able to see it. So the text field always appears above the image. Now below that is the image itself. Then what we have is this here, which is the display URL. So the website URL is where the ad will take the user to. The display URL is what you want the user to see. So I could clean that up and just say simplyconverting.com without the www. So you want that to obviously represent where the user is going to be heading, so they get a good idea of where you're taking them. But this doesn't have to match the destination URL exactly. That's more just for show on the front end of the ad. So we've got the headline field here, which is bolded. You can see that just below the display URL there. So an example headline could be for this post specifically, something like this: top 10 ClickBank products to promote right now. One thing to note is that there is a bit of text in this image that I'm working with here. I think it's still okay, but if you go above 20%, so if 20% of the image or more contains text, Facebook's going to flag that as an issue. Now it will still serve the ad, but it's going to throttle the delivery. So your relevant score might be a little bit lower as a result, and your costs will be a little bit higher. It's just going to become a little bit more inefficient. And so there we can see in bold is the headline. So we also have the news feed description. So one other thing to note here is we're looking at a preview for mobile news feed. So you can toggle between mobile and desktop. If you're doing an Instagram post, you would also see Instagram here as an option. It will show you how the ad will display on Instagram. But if we toggle to desktop, it's going to show us how it's going to look on a desktop computer. And that's what we can see here. So this here below the bolded headline is our description. Now at the moment that's auto pulling from my website. So we want to put in some custom description. So I'm just going to go back to the mobile. You can see that there's no description currently showing on mobile. I'm just going to paste in an example. So say I just pasted in the post copy there as a description as well. Often it won't show in a mobile view. So even though we have a newsfeed link description, it's not showing in the mobile view. But if I toggle to desktop, you can see what I pasted in there will show on desktop. So that's where you need to be careful, because a lot of the traffic is going to be coming through from mobiles these days. So you want to make sure that if you are using a headline and a description combination, it's going to show on a mobile newsfeed. And the way to do that is by shortening your headline. So what I've realized is if your headline is above a certain word count, it will take up a second line, and that's when your description will not show. So if I just shorten down my headline, you can see there that it's only taking up the one line, and we are getting a description showing on mobile. So just wait till that refreshes. So with that shorter headline, we're on a mobile view still, and we're seeing our display URL, our headline, which is bolded, and our description is pulling through. So it's going to show on both mobile and desktop. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you want to include both a headline and description, shortening that headline on mobile so that you can see a description as well. So that's the basic layout of an ad. You've got your page name here, you've got post text, you've got your image, you've got your headline here, your description, and your your display URL. And then whatever you put in there as the website URL is where the user is going to be taken to once they click on your ad.